So I guess I should start off by saying, bear with me, because I'm using what is quite possibly the shittiest webcam of all time. The quality is awful. I tried to use my phone, but it just wasn't happening. It wouldn't stay still, and it was just not working. So I'm using my shitty Dell computer to do this video. Um, so I basically just wanted to talk about what it's been like for me, kind of dealing with trying to recover from my eating disorder and being pregnant at the same time, which is kind of a unique situation. And I do really believe that everything happens for a reason, so a big part of me does think that this was kind of meant to happen this way, even though I didn't feel ready to be pregnant when I found out I was pregnant for a number of reasons. But that's just how it worked out. And well, basically what happened, a little gist of the story. I mean, I could go on for a whole other video about kind of the story of my eating disorder and how it developed and whatever. People make those videos all the time, and maybe I will one day, but that's a whole like video of itself. So but basically the rundown, I guess. I was diagnosed with bulimia last summer, maybe in like June. I had been dealing with the eating disorder itself for a while before that, like at least over a year, possibly two. It's hard to say exactly, when it goes from kind of bad habits and little things like that to like an actual disorder. So I don't really know. I couldn't say. But anyways, so last summer I was diagnosed. I started seeing a therapist in August that same year. She's really great. I still see her. So that's, I guess, when I started my recovery process. It just kind of got to a point. I was having some health problems, and I've had anxiety pretty much like as long as I can remember, my entire life, but it was getting really, really bad, which I have later found out that it was likely due to a lot of the behaviors I was engaging with that had to do with my eating disorder, like not eating and just drinking coffee all the time. That's not good for anxiety, I've learned, and things like that. So my anxiety got really bad to a point I couldn't even deal with it anymore. I was having panic attacks every day, and I felt like I hit like rock bottom, and my parents were basically like, you need to see a professional. And I was finally like, yeah, because I was just, it was more the anxiety and panic attacks became so bad and so hard to deal with that I was willing to go talk to someone anyway. So I started going to see her in August, and I stopped using behaviors probably, I think the last time I would have is in like November. So since, let's say, November, I've been behavior free. And then this February, I found out I was pregnant, which was also only a month and a bit after I got engaged. So not only was I still dealing with a lot of body image issues, that was like the thing that was left to deal with. Like I'd been good with not using behaviors for a few months, and my anxiety was getting better because I was taking better care of myself. And the really big thing I was left with was just dealing with my horrible body image. And so yeah, to add a pregnancy to the mix, and not only that, but we also had our wedding planned for this September coming up, and we've now moved it. So it was kind of really stressful because I'm like, oh, like all this is kind of all happening at once, and it was overwhelming. So once we moved the wedding, I was like, okay. And the past, so from February to now, I've been focusing a lot just on the baby and getting ready for the baby and not really anything else. It's really difficult, to say the least, trying to maintain that positive recovery frame of mind. I haven't used any behaviors while pregnant or anything like that. I'm glad to say that, because I know I was worried at the beginning, having to deal with all the physical changes that come with pregnancy, like not only weight gain, but just all the things that change about your body. And I was worried about dealing with that and still trying to maintain not using any behaviors, because I thought that would make me really vulnerable. Because at the time, from November to February, I hadn't really gained any weight from not binging and purging and just eating better and everything. I was lucky in that sense. I may have gained like 5-7 pounds, but nothing that I noticed and that anyone else noticed, really. Like, I was the same size and everything. So, but then to find out I was pregnant, it's like, oh, like, that was one of my first thoughts of panic. When, I took a test and it was positive. One of my first thoughts was, oh, I'm gonna gain weight and I'm gonna have to deal with it. Like, this is gonna be difficult. And it has been. I started gaining weight. I started showing, actually, probably around like 13 weeks. I had like a bump, because I was pretty small. Like, I'm 5'6", and I don't know. I don't want to get into numbers. I don't like to do that. But I was tiny, so I started showing right away. And now I'm due in October 21st. So I'm like 7 months. And I've been lucky. I haven't gained weight all over the place. I do have a huge belly. And I have huge boobs now, which I'm not used to, because before I got pregnant, I was like an A34 or something. And I'm like a double D 38. So that's difficult to deal with, to be honest. I don't like having big boobs. I'm not comfortable with them. I don't know how to dress with them, and it's just not something I'm used to. And I've also noticed myself, no one else seems to have, of course. Everyone's like, oh, you're all belly, this and that. But I have noticed that I have gained a little bit, like in my upper arms and upper thighs. And my face has filled out a little bit. I wouldn't say that I'm fat in the face or anything yet, anyway. But it's definitely filled out. I'm less gaunt, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. So it's been a lot, and it's hard to embrace it. I'm not gonna lie. I know that a lot of people love being pregnant, and lots of people think it's this beautiful time, and it is. Like, it's a beautiful thing. It's the gift of life. But it's not all that glamorous, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't feel good a lot of the time, and feeling good about myself is really, really hard. Because I'm not used to having a body like this, and it's hard to dress. I have like a certain amount of clothes that I can wear that fit. I can't wear any of my old clothes, really, which I'm actually really sad about, because before I got pregnant, I loved clothes. I loved to go shopping. I loved fashion and, wearing different things and experimenting with different looks and all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of cool clothes, or I still do have them. I'm not going to get rid of them. And to play dress up with, pretty much. And not being able to wear them, it makes me feel like not me. And maternity clothes are not my forte. I don't like them. They're ugly. I'm sorry. I've tried my damnedest to find stylish maternity clothes, and they're just really not out there in my opinion, to my taste anyway. I'm sure some people, it's just their style, but it's just not me. And I have sucked it up and bought a few things just because I need clothes, you know, of some kind. And I think the one thing I did find was like this long skirt. It's black and it's just like long and flowy, and it's good for the summer, and that's probably like my favorite thing that I found. Everything else is just like, I bought it because it fits, basically. I need something to wear. So that's been a big thing for me too, is missing all my old clothes, and I just don't feel like myself. Like I can't accessorize the same way I used to, and wear the same shoes I used to, and just kind of like put a look together that I'm comfortable with and that I feel good in. So that hasn't helped with, you know, on top of being bigger and having this huge bump and everything like that. It's been hard. So needless to say, when this pregnancy is over, I'm excited to hopefully get back into my old clothes. I mean, I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm really hoping that they'll fit. Obviously, I'm not expecting to get into them, you know, the day I get out of the hospital or anything, but I mean, I think so far I've gained like 35 or 40 pounds in 31 weeks. I don't know how much more I'm going to gain, obviously. I try not to weigh myself that much because I just get upset about it. But the doctor doesn't weigh me, which I find a bit strange. He weighed me once. It was one of my first few appointments, and at that time I had only gained probably about like 15 pounds. And he hasn't weighed me since. So I've weighed myself a couple times since then. But I don't want to obsess about it. So I try not to. But I'm hoping to be one of the lucky ones and easily shed the weight. I do plan to breastfeed, so hopefully that will help. I've heard it does help you get back into shape quicker, and it just helps your body kind of heal faster. And you know, there's a bunch of reasons I want to breastfeed, but I'm hoping that'll help. But it's so hard because at the same time, you know, I really don't want to obsess about how I'm going to look after this. Like, and I remember I told my fiance the other day, I'm like, because I just started noticing I'm getting stretch marks like a couple weeks ago, and like on my belly, underneath my belly button. And I was like, you know what, like this sucks. But I'd rather have stretch marks than like not be able to get into my old clothes. Like, I'd rather have stretch marks than not be my old size again. Like, and it's just like, and some days I just get so consumed by it. Like, it's all I can think about is like, am I going to get back into my old clothes? Like, if I don't, how am I going to deal with it? And I really, like, I'm not going to handle it well if I don't. I'm going to be completely honest. I know that. I can speak already saying that, like, I'm going to be very upset if I can't get back into my old clothes. Not only because I had a huge wardrobe before I got pregnant, and like so many pairs of pants, so many tops, so many everything, all in the size that I was used to being. And if I can't get back into them, like it's going to be a financial strain, if nothing else. So I stress about it a lot more than I should, and that's been difficult. Because yeah, some days it'll feel like the end of the world, thinking like there is a possibility that I will not fit into these clothes, and like what am I gonna do if that happens? And it just seems like I can't go on, actually. And that may sound ridiculous, but that's how the mind my mind works, unfortunately. And so I'm trying to be positive and hope for the best in that sense. I don't really know what else I could say. I'm very sore right now, so I should probably stop this video, as it's also been like 15 minutes and I'm sure everyone's sick of me talking. If you're even still tuned in, I know how long videos can get kind of like, oh, shut up already. But I just kind of wanted to like summarize how I felt dealing with everything. If anyone has any questions, you know, send them to my Ask Box, and I would love to read them and answer them. Okay, so I guess that's it. Bye.